Oh, I need a haircut. Can a minimalist have lots of hair? I guess if I love every strand. I don't love every strand. Hey guys, a few people have reached out to say that they want to play the minimalism game but don't really know what it involves, and also have asked a bunch of questions about how to let things go, and I'm going to try and answer those now. But first, instructions and details of how to play the game itself. So I kind of covered this a little bit in my get rid of your shit video, but essentially you just translate the date into the number of items that you need to minimize. So on the 1st of the month you minimize 1 item, on the 2nd you minimize 2, on the 3rd you minimize 3, you get the point. And that racks up to 465 items by the end of the month that you've minimized as a total. Which is awesome. I mean, 465 is a lot of stuff. Now, if you're quick at maths, you'll know that if I double my numbers, that essentially gives me 930, which means that I'm 70 items short off 1,000. So I'm gonna have to give it that extra little push. You'll see in the previous vlog that I managed to minimize an extra 26 items with all the soft toys and the 2 mugs that I found. And that's essentially what I'm gonna have to do to hit my 1,000 goal. But you don't have to do that. You just have to stick strictly with the date itself. On the day that this vlog goes out, which should be on the 6th of April, if you've been keeping up, great. Today you just need to minimize 6 items. But if you haven't and you really want to get started, now is a perfect time to start. And all you need to do is minimize 21 items. Now I know, 21 items either sounds like a lot or doesn't, but you know, these items can be as small as a staple or a hairpin or a chocolate bar that's gone out of date in your cupboard. Go for the easy items first. If you walk around your house or your flat, you'll immediately see some items that you know you can minimize straight away. Go for those. Make your life easy. And you know, keep tabs on what you're minimizing, because then you'll have tangible proof in front of you that you're making progress. And life's all about the small wins. You'll notice that if you start today, you're essentially doing it in a bulk as opposed to doing it every day. And that's actually what I do. I tend to just do a few days all in one day because I'm in the right mindset and I find that I can just sort of get into the swing of it. And you can do that, or you can do it as a day-by-day practice. Some people like to develop that habit every day by spending a small amount of time. It really doesn't matter. You just need to find a method that suits you and just start. Now onto some questions. So someone asked me, do I need to sell, give, or throw away each time? Yes, essentially. You need it out of your home. So however you want to do that, sell the item, give it away, recycle it, or throw it away if none of those options are available. Try and make the most of recycling and rehoming and reusing. But yes, essentially the goal is to get these items out of your home and to give them a new lease of life in a place where they'll be more appreciated. Next question, can it be anything? Yeah, you can minimize whatever the hell you want to. I mean, count food that's expired, look through your kitchen cupboards. I'm sure you'll probably find condiments and sweets and things that have just gone off and you just haven't cleared out. Count every single one of those items as an individual item. What if it doesn't belong to me? So this is the issue that I have when clearing out my parents' house at the moment, is that I'm trying to stick to just my things because frankly I have no right to get rid of someone else's stuff. But I do have a right to have a dialogue with them about whether they want to keep it or not. If I see it and I get a feeling that they haven't used it, they have no use for it and someone else might do. But ultimately, don't get rid of someone else's belongings. I mean that's just not nice. But talk to them about whether they would be open to the idea of rehoming it and see what they say. And if they say yes, then you can add that to your list of items that you've decluttered this month. How can I make my pile of crap look interesting on Instagram? Maybe I'll cover that in a different vlog about photography for Instagram. What if someone else gave it to me? Well, it's your possession, so you can do with it whatever you like. I do have a few things, however, that have been given to me from my parents, and I feel like they would be quite sad if I got rid of it. But again, that's not really a good enough reason to keep that item. The only reason you should keep an item is if it's functional or if it brings you joy. And by functional, I mean functional right now. There are some items, however, there are a slight exception to the rule, and that really annoys me because I like things to be fairly black and white. But for example, you know, I have certain dresses that are for certain occasions, but I know that those occasions are going to come around. It's not a case that these events are hypothetical. They will happen, and I will have those items of clothing available for those occasions. But in those scenarios, just don't have too many. You know, in the case of dressy clothes, have maybe 1, 2 or 3, however many you feel comfortable with, but just don't have too many. So back to the question of what if someone gave it to me? It's really worth having a conversation with that person to explain why you got rid of that item if you think it might be a bit of an issue. Tell them that you're rehoming it. Tell them that it's gonna go to a better place. Sounds like they're dying. Tell them that you appreciated the gesture of the present giving, but you don't need this item anymore. Maybe ask them if they want it back. Can you do that? That's really not a very British thing to do. You can't give back presents. But just be open and honest and clear, and let them know that this gesture of rehoming or recycling is nothing personal to do with them, obviously. It's just about the item. How do you get rid of things that you're convinced you might need later? What I would say is, for those items, I would give yourself a duration in which you think you might need them in. And make it a reasonable duration. Don't make it like 20 years. Make it something like a month or maybe 3 months. Put it away in a drawer so you don't see it, and then see if you come across the instance when you might need to use it. And if not, just get rid of it. It's gone. See you later. Another thing I do just want to mention on that point is that sometimes it will happen where you've gotten rid of an item and you find that you need it again later on. And the thing is that we tend to remember that one time versus all the other times when we got rid of something and didn't need it ever again. It doesn't make sense to think about them out of proportion. So maybe if it's possible, try and shift your mindset into thinking about the number of times when you've decluttered something and it's not crossed your mind again. Okay, final question is, how the fuck do you know you're ready to let go of stuff? So Kate and I usually talk about this as if it's some kind of switch. It feels a bit like you sort of get yourself to a place where you're sort of mulling it over and you're thinking about letting something go, and then just all of a sudden you're ready to let it go. If you're just starting out, the best way is just to start with things that you know would be easy to let go of. So I've given this example many times in this video, but food that's expired, I mean, why would you keep it? And I'm sure that there are certain items of clothing, books or magazines maybe, that you know that you just don't care about. If you start there, then you'll start developing a habit of being able to let go. And it is hard. There are some things that you really have to mull over, and I think that's where a decluttering drawer would be really useful, because then it's out of sight and you're half of the step there to making a real good conclusion about whether you want to keep it or whether you want to let it go. Ultimately, there are some items that are really difficult to let go of, but then there are ways of getting around that. So if you're holding on to it because of sentimental memory, you still have those memories in your head without that item. If you really want to remember it, take a picture of it and store that picture digitally. And if you're holding on to it because you feel obligated to hold on to it, then just let it go. You know, this all sounds wildly simplistic, and it kind of is, because I guess if you were to go through the motions of a minimalism game and it wasn't simple, that would be a bit ironic. I guess the decision-making process actually helps to reinforce sometimes why you love something. But yeah, I get it. It's not easy to do. I know, I'm an ex-hoarder. Anyway, I hope this vlog has been useful. If you want to play along in the minimalism game, then join in on Instagram and hashtag it with FritMinsGame so that I'll be able to find it. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you tomorrow with a new vlog. See ya.